Oh, hi, I didn't see you there. Welcome to the analysis of Louis Vuitton Spring-Summer 2019 men's. I have wanted to do this episode for forever. If you're unfamiliar with the channel, we do in-depth analyses of runway shows so that we can better understand the artfulness of designer clothes. And if that is what you like, then you should subscribe to the thing and follow me on the stuff. Thanks. We have an enormous number of things to cover today, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we're going to cover it. I was lucky enough to be sent the show notes for the actual show. This is the stuff that they leave on the seats of the people who are actually attending the runway show. It is, there's a lot. Essentially what we're going to be doing is going through these show notes and kind of showing you how Virgil chose to present the show as far as his own words are concerned. Okay, the most important luxury house of all time has a new creative director. Let's see what he's up to. Typically, I feel the need to give some kind of context about the designer or about the brand that they're stepping into, but in this case, like, you know who Louis Vuitton is, and you definitely know who Virgil Abloh is, so shall we skip that? I think we can skip that. Typically, show notes are literally just a single piece of paper sitting on everyone's chair. They're usually like 3 or 4 paragraphs long. Usually they just talk about the references and the inspirations that went into designing the runway show so that you kind of have a little bit of context for what you're looking at. Okay, so this involved 18 pages. It's 18 pages long. And honestly, like, this is the way that this stuff should be done. Fashion fans are famously ravenous for information, and it is so wonderful when a designer cooperates and says, let me tell you everything. If we look on the back of one of the pieces of paper from the show notes, we see Louis Vuitton Men's Collection by Virgil Abloh, Spring-Summer 2019. And the title of the show, We Are the World, which of course is a Michael Jackson reference. I really hope that I didn't have to be the one to tell you that. I hope you just knew it offhand. I myself was told from a very early age, this is an MJ household. For his purposes here, I think Virgil was just trying to set a tone of unity for his first show at Louis Vuitton. This theme of like radical inclusion and like infinite seats at the table is something that Virgil has pushed for most of his career. The first one, it just lists off each look, the name of the model, and then lists the details of what they're wearing. I imagine that this is primarily included for buyers so that they can have a really easy access point to be able to just read through and say, oh, I want this, I want like 50 of these, I want 100 of these, etc. But honestly, this stuff is invaluable. How many times have we looked at a runway look and been like, the fuck is that made of? Like, look 5. Oh, that's just normal raincoat material, right? Nope, it is transparent technical jacquard monogrammed organza. So it's similar to the stuff that wedding veils are made out of, except that it's monogrammed. I did not catch that my first time watching this show. Look 51. Cotton, I guess? No, sir, this is neoprene velvet. That's so sick. What even is that? But yeah, I would give a family member's left arm to be able to have this kind of information for every runway show that I look at. This kind of stuff is invaluable to be able to index things. So thank you, Virgil. And thank you, Zach Galifianak, Louis Vuitton. The second thing that's included is a graph that is a map of the world with a bunch of colorful dots all over it. What do these dots mean? Great question. The black dots show each model's place of birth. The orange dots show each model's mother's place of birth, and the gray dots show each model's father's place of birth. The map is probably also the most literal way that the name We Are the World applies to the rest of the show. Okay, are you ready to really light this shit off? Because this is the really cool part. The vocabulary according to Virgil Abloh, a liberal definition of terms and explanation of ideas. In 6 pages, he's mimicking what most academic texts do, where at the back there's a glossary of terms. So if you happen to forget where something was talked about, you can just look it up in the back by the term and then find the page number that the thing is listed on. Virgil is using this to give definitions of these terms as they apply to his usage in the show. One of the most distinctive things about Virgil's work is this cheeky air quotes thing that he does. And here, for the first time that I'm aware of at least, he's giving a proper definition for what he means when he throws up those little air quotes. I'm trying to think of what goofy thing I can do here to make you understand how much I like this idea. I got nothing. I just really like this idea. Let's go through these terms. Let's get it. The first term is 3%, the exact ratio needed to twist a normative object into something special. I first encountered this Virgil Abloh 3% rule when he was doing his collaboration with IKEA, where he was taking fairly normal objects and then just changing them by 3% in order to make them a new piece of art. This is obviously something that Virgil has been infinitely criticized for, which he's given kind of the coolest response to ever, which is Duchamp is my lawyer, which I think might just be a polite way of saying that the art world dealt with this question about 100 years ago. This 3% rule is really a lot of what has to do with his actual job at Louis Vuitton. He's there to direct the art and to make these runway shows and kind of create a vision for the house, but when it comes down to like the brass tacks of whether or not he gets to stay there, he's got to sell accessories because that's their big money maker. And so the task of taking classic Louis Vuitton luggage and finding a way to make that unique and special for a new generation of consumers, he has to figure out something that's going to heavily reference the classics while still doing something that looks totally fresh. And that's clearly what he's done. We'll get back to the bags in a second. Our second word is accessomorphosis. We're getting playful so quickly. Accessomorphosis, a portmanteau describing the transformation of an accessory into a garment, effectively evolving its functional form. So a portmanteau is literally just a large trunk or suitcase, but as a literary term, it means joining two words to make a new word. Sound the double entendre alarm. So the word actually means what it says, because port in French comes from porter, which is to carry, and manteau means coat. It is worth noting that accessomorphosis itself is also a portmanteau. We're not going to do literally every single term here, so things like after party, I mean, you can just kind of read along as you're going and come up with your own interpretations, which I very honestly want to hear about in the comments. If you have anything else to add to this, I love hearing about that stuff. Please write it up. Bags, the ultimate expression of utility. For spring-summer 2019, bag designs are derived from the icons of Louis Vuitton and treated with Virgil Abloh's 3% methodology. So these silver and kind of polychromatic, super bright colors are all big references to the early 2000s aesthetic that he's sort of made his mark with at Louis Vuitton. Collaboration. This is actually a really interesting point. Creative partnership between people or brands in which Virgil Abloh has often engaged in the past. Likewise, linked to the business of Louis Vuitton for over a century. The Spring-Summer 2019 collection features no collaboration. There certainly will be collaborations in future Louis Vuitton shows by Virgil Abloh, but for now, we're just seeing the man's work. Collar, a shirt or jacket component indispensable in the codes of formal wear, a sector native to Louis Vuitton and foreign to its designer. Its tips are clipped as a mark-making gesture of irony. It's probably a reference to the fact that Louis Vuitton himself did not like formal wear and avoided it at all costs. Mans didn't like to dress up, which, especially considering the era that he was working in, that's actually kind of cool. Designer. Quote, I don't call myself a designer, nor do I call myself an image maker. I don't reject the label of either. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal, nor am I trying to be more now. I would like to define the title of artistic director for a new and different era. This has become a really common thing that Virgil emphasizes over and over now, where he's not trying to confine himself to one specific medium, trying to not limit himself with labels. And he seems to be so prolific in so many mediums of art that this is actually something that rings pretty true in his case. Dorothy, a farm girl from the Midwest transported to Oz, a fairy tale land where she experiences things beyond the reach of her imagination. As an outsider, she soon discovers she was taken to Oz for a reason. Even outside of fashion, The Wizard of Oz might be the most influential film of all time. Coverings for the hands employed by Virgil Abloh to accentuate the signature accessories of Louis Vuitton. The colors of gloves are purposefully matched to the leather goods with which they are paired. Interesting looking gloves is something that Virgil will continue to do for the next 3 shows at least of Louis Vuitton. But I think it's worth noting here that in the larger art world, the topic of hands and feet are often talked about as the most expressive parts of the body besides the face. I think we have an easy connection there into the fact that accessories are often the most vocal part of an outfit. And he's kind of trying to find a way to merge those accessories with the person that's holding them. Graphics, a signature facet in the work of Virgil Abloh. Graphic ornamentation no longer takes the form of prints, but evolves into artisanal insignia, hand-embroidered, flocked and off the grid. It is hand-placed individually by Virgil Abloh. So the way that most of us found out about Virgil Abloh was through Pyrex Vision, right? Where he was taking images and he was taking garments that were already very culturally established icons, and he was finding new ways to use them so that they had new meaning. So now he's kind of showing that that image maker, new recontextualization skill set that he's always used is now being applied to this incredibly classic, very copyrighted insignia that he now finally has access to, and that we should be watching for how he's using this insignia to kind of make it new and to recreate the story of Louis Vuitton. Harnessing, a term denoting a means of safekeeping and the conversion of a decorative object into useful ornamentation. Here I'm kind of reminded of a quote that I think is from Robert Geller, but I might be wrong on that, where he was talking about women's wear is the idea of taking a big circle and trying to carve out a small circle of what you want to do within it. Whereas with menswear, there's a much smaller starting circle, and your goal is to move that circle out just a little bit. Guys are so hungry for something that's going to spice up their outfits that adding in a really unique mid-layer piece is something that was so much needed in menswear. Taking an idea that Matthew Williams had already been exploring a lot at Alix with the chest rig and finding a way to transform that into something that feels more like a garment. Excessomorphosis indeed. Long-windedness, a blessing and a curse. So here we have a little joke. Louis Vuitton, Parisian purveyor of leather goods founded in 1854, defined by its monogram, the house invented logomania. Its brand value retains unparalleled standing across cultures and classes. All facts. Luxury, a label determined by values, codes, and qualities. Its use, pay attention, this one's really important. Luxury, a label determined by values, codes, and qualities. Its use and definition were the privilege of a few until a new generation conquered its dominion and shifted the paradigm for good. There is no shortage of statements out there about how luxury is changing in the modern world, how everything is getting democratized, and how luxury doesn't mean what it used to. Here we are getting from an actual luxury house a definition, but really more a statement about the changing landscape of luxury. Saying that luxury is determined by values, which is the way that the company conducts itself. Codes, which are things like copyrighted monograms and distinctive hardware. And qualities, which is the devotion to an unreasonable high standard for the quality of the goods that they're putting out. I think it's purposeful here that he doesn't mention anything about cost, which usually comes into the play in most conversations about what luxury was and what it is now. And I think what he's referencing here is the fact that luxury has changed in a more democratized world than it used to be, to mean just something that is of extraordinary specialness to an individual. This new generation has taken the idea of luxury and made it something where it is possible for everyone to have something that is luxurious. And I think it's interesting that he's making that statement while he's at a house that is undisputably luxurious, regardless of what your definition of luxury is. This is one of the first places in the show notes where Virgil loops back around to this idea of radical inclusion, that everyone's invited to the party. And I think that is a pretty profound statement to make if you are newly appointed as the artistic men's director at a luxury house. Margielaism. Martin has entered the chat. A term applied to garments or accessories which reflect the normative fashion religion of a reverent generation of young or younger designers to which Virgil Abloh belongs. I am reminded of the time that Marc Jacobs was accused of copying Margiela in one of his runway shows, to which Marc replied, yeah, everyone copies Margiela. Most of the really heavy Martin Margiela references come in later shows that Virgil does at Louis Vuitton, but for now the big one is that this sweater is kind of imitating this portrait of the Margiela staff that came out a number of years ago. The anonymity is what's kind of being referenced here. Model, a person identified by the anatomical, racial, and cosmetic features of his appearance, or by his artistry, individuality, and personality. Here we're reminded of the fact that models are selected because of the way that they look. That's kind of how modeling works. But he also adds in, oftentimes the way that the person has chosen to live their lives is model enough to qualify them kind of regardless of how they look. So I guess we can sound the double entendre alarm again, because we're using model like fashion model, and then we're also using it like model citizen. Motto, quote, good style is always off-putting. Maybe some kind of acknowledgement like Virgil saying, I realize it's a lot, go with me here. Off-white, a greige gradient of white which alters a component familiar to all. It serves as a blank canvas for perception and interpretation. This definition or other definitions like it tend to get used a lot when Virgil is explaining his work. And I think mostly it's kind of like the whiteness of the whale in Moby Dick, where it's something that brings cohesion to the whole body of work, but it's a metaphor where the vehicle can kind of be plugged and played in lots of different circumstances depending on how he wants to use it. Poppy, a ruby red flower whose exceptionally fragile structure is contrasted by its psychedelic narcotic properties and hallucinogenic powers. Production, a metaphor for finding drama. You know what? We're actually going to save that one for the end. This is a really good way to close out the show. Let's move on. Psychedelia, originally a term for art created through means of intoxication. It describes an innocent sense of elation observed in trippy color formations and kaleidoscopic motifs. This is a pretty easy one. There's a lot of really interesting uses of kaleidoscopic and psychedelic and tie-dye like motifs throughout the show. really beautiful, beautiful uses like here where it's on some mohair. If we allow ourselves to kind of give into our interpretive sides here, I think we can kind of see Virgil's situation and Dorothy's situation as the psychedelic experience, right? Where you're suddenly transported into this place where suddenly dreams are possible and everything seems totally different and your perspective has shifted on everything and you have this brand new purpose and everything is opening up. I just think it's so cool that all of the emotions that we all saw at the end of the show when Virgil comes out and he just can't hold it together and he starts kind of breaking down and crying with joy, that same feeling is even reflected in the normal sterility of show notes where you still get this sense that he's going, I cannot believe this is happening. Very wholesome stuff. Staple, a twisted piece of metal that holds two elements together, a term for the essential garments and accessories in a wardrobe. Man, we are gonna break this double entendre alarm. Tailoring, the paradoxical uniform of the businessman. Its suitcase-afflicted creases have become ingrained in the anatomy of the blazer, forever folded for travel. Okay, this was actually pretty interesting. So with that definition, I then was like, okay, so were there any pieces in the show that actually did have permanent crease marks? Because that, as you may know if you watch my Margiela series, is a detail that Margiela loved. So I started looking through here to see if anything did have crease marks, and a couple of items claimed to have crease marks in the suit jacket, but when I actually looked at the footage, I couldn't tell that those crease marks were there. Side note, that shoulder is delicious. I don't know, is there something that I maybe overlooked here? Because I mean, the show notes say, timepieces. Functional fusions between jewelry and clocks that effectively create a process of accessomorphosis. Timepieces have been turned into true accessories through the employment of ceramic links in double wrap configuration. So we're helped to kind of understand the idea of accessomorphosis through the most classic example of them, watches. Utility. Once the luxury of workwear, utilitarian elements now provide fashion with equal parts functionality and pleonasm. It is the usefulness of a multi-pocket gillet and the irony of a wallet situated at the ankle. The word pleonasm means to use more words than is necessary, and in this context, I think what he means is sort of this trend of functionality in menswear especially has gotten to the point where it's very, very OP, where a lot of brands are trying to explore the limits of what is maximally useful to the users of their clothes, and then some brands are just kind of fetishizing this idea of the pocket and the triple pocket, all these different things that at a certain point just become aesthetics, which is interesting because that's sort of taking this thing that is limited menswear for so long. That's the thing that's kept the circle, to go back to the Robert Geller, I think, quote, of the circle of menswear is so much smaller. It's such a limited sphere compared to the universe that is women's wear. And I think the thing that's made it so small is that men just have this insistence in the modern era that their clothes be born from practical things. Military wear or work wear of some kind, they want things to be tied to some kind of functionality. And now we're kind of starting to expand that circle by taking the idea of, oh, okay, I'll give you functional pockets. And then they're doing things like functional pockets down by the ankle and like too many pockets all in one place. Here, I think he's sort of reveling in this idea of we've kind of freed ourselves up from these limitations that we experienced in the past with menswear design by taking that idea and just kind of blowing it up. Finally, we close out with a quote that does not start with the letter Z. If you've made it this far, thank you for your time. Okay, so before we wrap this up, we got to go back to one definition that we skipped over because this is such a beautiful way of closing us out. Production, a metaphor for finding drama and subtlety. The Spring-Summer 2019 audience of 3,000 people is formed by the fashion industry and specially invited students. It creates an atmosphere representative of the dual demographic which will be wearing the collection at hand. Set in the gardens framed by the galleries of the Palais Royal, sand is rendered like a rainbow, while selected guests wear corresponding t-shirts, effectively activating the show through attendance. The vast majority of those in attendance were art school kids from around Paris who were invited to come and were given specially color-coded t-shirts and then lined up so that the colors of the audience matched the rainbow colors on the runway. And I think that this idea of radical inclusiveness and radical unity has been something that Virgil has been pushing for since he told every teenager in the world that they can express themselves by printing up hoodies and t-shirts at home. You're a designer too. I like your art. And so just everything from the models who are from all these different locations and walks of life in the world to his new definition of luxury to the invitation of thousands of students to a runway show that is usually closed off only for the press. He's showing us that it's so much better when everyone is here together. Inclusiveness is not some kind of chore that you have to work for. More seats at the table just means it's a better party. In his definition for Dorothy, he talks about a farm girl who is transported to a world beyond her imagination, and he specifies that she was brought there for a reason. And we see that reason, that purpose carried out at the very end of the show. There's so many beautiful clothes that demonstrate this idea of the kaleidoscope, but the real symbol of this that I love the most was after the last model had cleared the rainbow runway and Virgil had said thank you. And the camera swoops up to a bird's eye view and we see the runway and we see everyone set off in their color-coded places with their t-shirts. And then we see them all start to mix. And as a final note on the show, later that night, Virgil posted to his Instagram a picture from the day and a caption that read simply, "You can do it too." Thank you, friends. If this is your first time on the channel, please go check out the other stuff. I have runway analyses for just about any designer that you could possibly imagine. Humongous, serious, heartfelt, bottom of my heartfelt thank you to Virg for sending me these show notes. That honestly has meant the world to me. It is priceless, literally priceless. This is my luxury. This is luxury to me. Thank you. If you love this content, I ask that you please support it on Patreon. These episodes take an enormous amount of work. It starts at $3 a month. You get a lot of exclusive content. You get to join the best internet community for fashion in the entire world. The Discord that is behind my Patreon is just outstanding. You should go check it out. Link is in the description. Go follow me on social stuff. And if you have a mind to, please say hi. My DMs are always open and I honestly love talking about this stuff and I would love to meet you. I love you enough to mean it. Bye.